Welcome back to another video, guys, and in today's video we are going to be looking at the top transfer tips ahead of game week 8. So this transfer list consists of the players you should buy, the players you should hold, and the players you should sell. So consider hitting the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Please turn on the post notification icon so that anytime I post a new video you are going to be right aware, as the algorithm shows that a lot of you will watch my videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel yet, and this can actually affect my channel in the long run, as the algorithm won't recommend my videos for other viewers to see. Please so make sure you hit that subscribe button, as it is very important to my channel. Without further ado, let's get into the transfer tips ahead of game week 8. So the first list of players we have is that are defenders. I'm going to be giving you players you should buy, hold, sell for defense, for midfield, and for the attack. That is how I kind of do my buy, hold, sell transfer tips every game week. So the first player you're going to be looking at, as you can see on the icons above, is Chalobah for the buy. Chalobah is for the buy. Now, what's the particular reason why I've suggested you buy Chalobah? We see that Chalobah is getting more playing time in the Chelsea squad amongst other defenders out there, and in the few matches he has played, he has been able to really perform. Not just perform, he has been able to outperform some of the players who have been in the squad for a while. In this first match again for Chelsea, we see that he actually scored in that particular match. Then for some matches he has been out of the squad, but I don't know why Tuchel has been, not being consistent with the old squad rotation or something, but that is actually in favor of him, as currently we see that he can not only play as a center back, he can also play as a number 4. That means, and currently he's still a defender in Fantasy Premier League, so it means every time he plays and Chelsea keeps clean sheet, he's definitely going to get points for it. So I would suggest you get Chalobah to your team as the second defender you should get from Chelsea. And if you look at it, a lot of managers are selling Alonso because he has blanked in the previous game week. He didn't even play, and it's looking as though Ben Chilwell is back. So I won't really suggest you get Ben Chilwell or Alonso just yet, because we still exactly don't know what Tuchel's plan is for both players. But it is actually evident that Chalobah is going to be seen more in the Chelsea squad ahead of the coming game week. So I'll advise you sign Chalobah, who is just 4.8 million. And if you also look at the fixture difficulty ranking for Chalobah, it is actually pretty smooth and pretty cool for Chelsea in the next 4, 5, 6 or 7 game weeks ahead. So now the next player we're going to be looking at for sale is Trent Arnold is currently injured, and I don't know, I won't say I don't exactly know when Arnold is going to be coming back to the squad. But irrespective of that, we see that we are currently at international break, and most likely Arnold won't be able to participate in international football because of his injury. I don't exactly know the nature of his injury, but I think Arnold is 7.5 million, and you can't afford to keep this kind of player on your bench because money would just be wasting. So the best decision for you to make is just sell Arnold if you are holding Arnold already. Arnold is not a player you should hold. I would have talked about, there's no point talking about whether it's fixture ahead or something, because Liverpool is quite fixture proof, and it doesn't really matter who they are playing against, Arnold will always perform. But for the fact that he's injured, take out Arnold of your team as soon as possible and replace him with Chalobah or Aspilicueta or someone else. So now the next player on the list for hold is Duffy for Brighton. Now, what's the main reason why I'm actually suggesting you managers hold this player? Duffy is just 4.3 million, meaning that irrespective of his performance, irrespective of what he does, as long as he doesn't take points off your team because of red cards or yellow cards, he's just right okay there. You wouldn't really care much if he doesn't score because of his price points. It's just 4.3 million, and that is actually very cheap for a player like this. We see that the fixture ahead isn't so bad. He's playing against Norwich, but you could consider benching him against Manchester City. But Brighton also has been very impressive this season. We see that they are currently in the top 7 teams in the Premier League, and they've been able to stop Arsenal from scoring from against them. And we could actually see this also play out against Manchester City. Maybe not. The only the fixture that I'm seeing that will be so difficult for Brighton is the fixture they are playing against Liverpool in the 3rd game week from now. And after that, we see that they still have a cool fixture playing against Newcastle United. So if you have Duffy, I would advise that you hold Duffy and don't sell him. So that is that for the defense for buy, hold, and sell. Moving on, we have midfielders for buy, hold, and sell. Now, first player we see here that we're going to be buying to your squad is Son. Now, why have I suggested you buy Son? Now, I've been holding Son since the beginning of the season. I bought Son rather since the beginning of the season, and I've been holding him since then. In the previous game week, I talked about holding Son, and we see that I was actually correct, and this is actually playing out the way I have predicted. And now, for those people who don't have Son, I see that a lot of managers still don't have Son, as about less than 20% of total managers playing Fantasy Premier League have Son. So Son is just 10 million, and is a premium midfielder, and I think you should have Son. Now, Son, I feel like, irrespective of Tottenham's fixture, Tottenham might not be fixture proof, but Son himself is fixture proof. Son can score against anybody because he's that caliber of player that is top performing. So to see that the next fixture ahead is Newcastle. Thereafter, we see 3 straight red fixtures showing the difficulty for the match. They're going to be playing against West Ham, Manchester United, and Everton. And these are matches that Son can definitely score. We could even see him do double figures like he did in the previous game week. So Son is a player you should buy. Yeah, and the way, and I also noticed that a lot of players are transferring out Ronaldo, for example. So if you are transferring out Ronaldo, you should actually, or Lukaku, you can actually channel the remaining funds to sign in a player like Son to, fill up that gap for you. Now, the player I think you should sell off your team and get rid of is Pogba. Paul Pogba, so far, because of Manchester United's inconsistency, we'll see that Paul Pogba have actually dropped in performance, and not just also dropped in performance. We see that Manchester United has not also been consistent with the appearance of Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba didn't start in the last match, and holding a player of 7.8 million is actually a lot for him not to start at all. The fixture ahead is actually shaky for Manchester United because if you look at their inconsistencies, we can boastfully say that they might not even get maximum points from the coming matches ahead. They are going to be playing against Leicester City away, followed by Liverpool, then Tottenham and Manchester City. We see that this fixture ahead are very, very difficult for Manchester United, and this might actually be the beginning of their downfall. So if you don't want to get caught up in the mess of Manchester United, avoid a player like Paul Pogba currently. Although if you have Ronaldo, I still advise managers keep Ronaldo, because even if Manchester United is not fixture proof, Ronaldo is fixture proof. Moving on, we have Said Benrahma. Benrahma is the player I think you should hold. I noticed that ahead of game week 8, a lot of managers are already transferring out Benrahma. I really don't exactly know why this is, or probably because he hasn't performed in some game weeks, although that kind of shows some inconsistency coming from Benrahma. But if you are patient with this player, I think in the long run, he's going to give you optimal points and optimal performance for your squad. So we look at the fixture difficulty ranking ahead. It's not so difficult, it's not rosy as well. They're going to be playing against Everton, Tottenham, Aston Villa, and Liverpool. Now, the next 3 matches aren't that bad, and we can actually see Benrahma, do 1 or 2 things, or even get double figures ahead of these game weeks. But I'll just advise you hold Benrahma because it's just 6.6 million, so you really don't have anything to worry about, and there are not really better players out there that can replace Benrahma in this same price point. Looking at Rafinha and looking at Sa, they already have difficult fixtures ahead. Apart from Rafinha, especially Sa has a difficult fixture ahead, and I think that it wouldn't be worth it taking off Benrahma to sign Sa. So make sure you're keeping Benrahma in your team and you hold this player with your dear life. Moving on, we have the attackers in the strike position. So we have Jimenez for the buy, we have Dennis for the sell, and we have Lukaku for the hold. Now, talking about Jimenez for the buy, Jimenez is one player I've talked about in previous game weeks, where I talked about he first made it to my watch list as first, but we saw that Wolves has been they've been inconsistent for a while, and Jimenez was this particular player I signed, was the only player I signed with a point each of 4 points this season. It was the only player I took 4 points each to sign this season. And why am I asking you to hold Jimenez? Looking at the fixture ahead for Wolves, the fixture is still quite good for Wolves. They're going to be playing against Aston Villa in the next match away, followed by Leeds, followed by Everton, followed by Crystal Palace, and it looks as though Wolves are beginning to get their rhythm back. Their last match was awesome. Jimenez was also awesome. He got 2 assists, and with the help of the new player in the squad, Wang, I think that Jimenez could actually, keep this consistent performance going on. Jimenez is just 7.5 million. If you're selling whoever you're selling and you're looking for a replacement, I think Jimenez will fit in well into that position. So consider signing Jimenez into your team if you're looking for a striker to sign. Now, the player I think you should take off and get rid of for the next game week coming is Dennis. Dennis is 5.3 million, although you're not supposed to be bothered by this, but around the same price, if you just add a little bit of more cash to that, you can actually get a better player like Jimenez, like I mentioned. Looking at his fixture ahead, they are very difficult, and I think this is the time Watford is going to be having some difficult times. They are going to be playing Liverpool in the next match, followed by Everton, before they go face Southampton, then come back to face Arsenal. These matches, we only see them playing Liverpool at home and Southampton at home. Everton and Arsenal are away, and I think these matches are going to be really difficult for Watford. So avoid a player like Dennis, as you don't want to get caught up in Watford's difficulty. Now down to the player owed. Now currently Lukaku is the second most transfer out player ahead of game week 8 after Ronaldo, and if you look at this, I think a lot of managers are just very impatient with these players. Probably they are just rookie amateur managers who doesn't have EPL Fantasy Premier League experience. Now if you've been in Fantasy Premier League for a long period of time, you know that these players still come back to perform, and it's just a matter of time, meaning you just have to be patient with them. Now Chelsea fixtures still remain easy. The fixtures ahead are still very cool. There's nothing too much for me to start telling you about why you should not sell Lukaku, because Lukaku will eventually perform. Now, irrespective of Werner's presence, Lukaku is still, if you look at the games Chelsea have been playing, Lukaku has still been trying to get those chances, even if he has not been scoring. The fixture ahead still give him chance to improve, it still give him chance to turn things around. So I would just advise that you keep Lukaku in your squad and don't sell him. 11.6 million is no joke, and you don't want to sell this kind of player. At the end of the day, you now come back to regret it after he performs in the coming game week. So make sure you're holding Lukaku. I'm actually open to other suggestions about the buy, hold and sell players, so you can use the comment section to discuss that with me. So I think that will be all for the buy, hold, sell transfer tips ahead of game week 8. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and make sure you turn on the post notification icon so that anytime I post a new video, guys, you are going to be aware. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Until I catch you in the next one, guys, have a nice and wonderful international break, guys. Peace.